I would love to know how you developed your skills to be able to explain and communicate complex ideas effectively to the everyday person, or any suggestions for people struggling in this area, because you must have worked really, really hard to be able to go, okay, your level of understanding is right here because you're 16, 12, or 41 and you just don't have a good science background. I'm going to now make this digestible for you. And you do that seemingly on the fly on talk shows, like on The Daily Show or on TV, possibly even live. So it's not like, oh, hey, Neil, we're going to ask you all this stuff. Come up with a clever sounding soundbite. Like, you got really, really good at that through a lot of hard work, I assume.
Well, first, thank you for not saying, oh, you're so good at it, it must be natural. So thank you for...
I know it's not, no one's that good at that naturally.
So thank you for granting me the expectation that it's the product of hard work. So that's my first, thank you. Second, it's really, I remembered, I go back, I'm an old man now, so let me go back many decades, and I'd start explaining things to people because they'd ask, oh, you're an astrophysicist? I have this question. And I would monitor their attention span, their eyebrows. Would they lean into the conversation, or are they easily distracted? At what word did I utter did they then lose interest? By the way, any writer thinks this way all the time, because the moment you lose someone in that sentence, they're gone. They're never coming back to your novel. Hence is the important review of a novel. It was a page turner, right? Where you kept wanting to hear more. So somehow the author has gotten under your skin in a good way and keeps you coming, sentence by sentence, idea by idea. So there I am explaining things, and not everything is working. There are words I'm using that they're not understanding. So I'm taking mental note of this, because I say to myself, if this happens again, I'm going to avoid those pitfalls. I mean, why not? I mean, if it's done incrementally, how much effort is that, right? But you also have to pay attention to body language. You have to monitor, are they interested or not? And if you're not, this is like the professor facing the chalkboard or the class. If you're not even looking or paying attention, you will fail, because you're not going to be reading what works with them. So I make note. Oh, this works for a person of this age group, but not this age group, or this kind of background, or if they're from this part of the country, okay, or this part of the world. All of this is an assembled encyclopedia. That sounds so antiseptic. An assembled toolbox for me to reach a utility belt. There you go. I'm Batman.
There you go, yeah.
Everybody wants to be Batman. It's my utility belt. And I find out what their interests are, and I clad the science that I'm describing on what they came to me with. Are they fluent in pop culture? Are they religious? Are they ambitious? Are they not ambitious? Are they all of these things shape what words I choose, and hardly anything I ever say do I say without having first written it down. Because
really? Like,
yes.
Even the sound bites on a show, you'll have written that in the past and used it on before?
I would say yes, but I'll word it differently. I'll say I've written so much about all of these topics that when the topic comes up, I just access a carefully worded sentence that I spent time composing, because I'm thinking about it. So if science writing were just communicating information, you could just staple together wiki pages on all the science topics. But well-written books don't read like wiki pages. As useful as wiki pages are, you're not reading them to be page turners, right? You're reading them to get specific information. But if you're going to write a book or give a lecture, you want the words to matter, to flow, to attract someone's interest. And so I'm going, I have a better word that's shorter and less complicated. Let me use that. Yeah, that works. But now the next idea that follows it. So these become templates within me that I have, and I have a good random access memory of, because if you spent that much time composing a sentence, you're going to remember that sentence. You're going to remember what that machinery was that went through your head. And I've written about basically every single science topic that I talk about publicly. And so yeah, So that helps. So whole sentences can come out fully composed, primarily because I already went through that same thought process. Unless you ask me a question that's so out of far left field, but then I can sort of assemble. I have words with me, and I can do this on the fly. I don't fear that. In fact, I welcome it. It gives me a new, maybe a new pocket in my utility belt to field questions of one nature versus another.
On the flip side, if you encounter a topic in your life that you're not familiar with, which I assume happens, just from anybody who reads, what's your process to then understand that topic? Are you using something similar that you would use to teach other people to remember things yourself or wrap your mind around topics?
No. It's not about memory. Memory is good to have. It's good to have a good memory, but it's even better to have a good understanding.
Understanding, yeah.
When you have an understanding of something, you don't have to remember it because you just understand it. So I'll give I think is a good example. So if you walk into a bookstore and you say, okay, where are all the books on, I don't know, pick a topic. Where are your cookbooks? Okay, oh, they're over here. And there's an entire section of cookbooks. Regional, this, fast cook, slow cook. There it is. Okay. By the way, there are more cookbooks than there are elements on the periodic table. Okay, so what's going on there? Well, recipes are things you kind of memorize, or you have. Whereas, if I say where are the books on all the known physics in the universe? Well, it's one corner of one shelf. There's like electromagnetism, there's gravity, there's light, and it's that. And so I can come to you with a deep understanding of all manner of things that go on in the universe that derive from these 4 books. That's an understanding. I didn't memorize the books. That's not about memorization. It's about understanding how and why things work so that when you encounter something you've never seen before, you can invoke the principles of how and why things work to fully understand what's happening. And it empowers you to evaluate situations that you've never been in before. Let me take a quick side ramp here. Imagine 2 people in the workplace, all right? So the boss comes up and hands the worker some task. And the worker says, I've never done this before. This is not in my job description. Mm-hmm. Okay, all right. Hands it to another person. And the person declines the task. Hands it to another person. Wow, I've never seen this before. This is outside my job description. Let me go home and learn about it. This is great. Okay, there's 2 completely different employees. All right, one of them embraces the unknown and wants to learn about it. By the way, having done so makes them more valuable to the company. All right, and then the other person gets a task because they think, and this surely happens in some cases, but stay with me on this. They think that doing extra work that's not in their job description is exploiting them. Mm-hmm. And yes, that's true. But if you're in the kind of job where they care about how you contribute to the company, if you show you did something great that was not in your job description, there's a new job description awaiting you, okay? If the workplace is fair in any sense, there are other jobs for you. They will grow your responsibility and accountability into that in that position. So when I encounter, to get back to your question, when I encounter something I don't understand, I will totally dig it up. And I'll try to think of interesting things I'd want to know about it and start there because that feeds your curiosity and your interest. So let's pick a topic I don't know much about. How about grasshoppers? Okay. So I would first say, well, how do they make that noise? And I heard it's their legs, but really? What's rubbing against what to make the noise? And they have these big beady eyes. What do they need antenna for? I would ask questions about it. Because what is science if not a method of querying nature? So and then I'd use those as ways to pull me in. And while I'm on that journey, I might see other things. Here's why the grasshopper wants to jump so far, or why it's that size, or suppose I want to eat a grasshopper. All right, where's all the protein? Because the whole cultures that thrive on grasshoppers. And so I would ask things that interest me, and that gets me deep into it in such a way that I can now celebrate the subject and be conversant with somebody, not an expert at it, but I'd be conversant with someone who is an expert and possibly even learn more.